In 2021, when Spider-Man: No Way Home hit theaters, it didn't just perform well, it took over the entire movie world. Nearly $2 billion at the box office, sold-out screenings around the globe, and a level of hype most studios only dream about. But the most interesting part isn't that headline number. The real story is what Tom Holland and Zendaya did with that moment once the credits stopped rolling. No Way Home wasn't just another Marvel sequel for them. It was a turning point. Tom reportedly earned around $10 million just for that film. Zendaya's paycheck had grown with each Spider-Man installment as her role expanded. By the time the trilogy wrapped, they weren't just playing leads in a superhero franchise. They were the faces of a renewed Marvel era after the Avengers saga, and they knew exactly how to use that leverage. Both of them came into Spider-Man with momentum. Tom already had serious acting credentials from films like The Impossible and his Marvel debut in Captain America: Civil War. Zendaya had transitioned out of her Disney Channel past and was already starting to make noise with early seasons of Euphoria. But Marvel operates on a totally different level of exposure. With Disney behind the franchise, their likenesses weren't just on movie posters. They were in video games, action figures, worldwide press tours, endless memes, and inside a cinematic universe that fans analyze frame by frame. On-screen chemistry between Peter Parker and MJ turned into a real-life relationship, and that only amplified the attention. Every red carpet, every interview, every candid photo suddenly meant more. A lot of young stars get chewed up by that kind of spotlight. Tom and Zendaya did something else. They let the fame work for them, not the other way around. They didn't turn into tabloid regulars. They turned into power players. After No Way Home, both of them started making choices that said very clearly, we're not just franchise faces anymore. Zendaya stepped into Dune, playing Cheney in a heavyweight sci-fi epic with huge budgets and massive expectations. And then into Challengers, a prestige, character-driven project where the story revolves around her. These aren't safe roles. They're the kind of part studios give to someone they expect to carry a film. Tom moved from a Marvel machine into Uncharted, taking on Nathan Drake in a big-screen adaptation that could have gone either way. Instead, it pulled in around $400 million worldwide. That proved he could open a blockbuster without a cape. Then he signed on for the crowded room with Apple TV+, not just as an actor, but also as a producer. That series let him explore mental health and identity in ways that Marvel would never touch. It wasn't just about numbers. It was about range and ownership. If you look closely, Zendaya's rise has been all about patience and precision. After Disney, she could have easily been boxed into the former child star lane. Instead, she waited for roles that stretched her. Euphoria changed everything. As Rue, she didn't just lead the show, she completely redefined what audiences expected from her, winning 2 Emmys for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama, as the youngest woman ever to do it twice, locked her in as one of the most important TV talents of her generation. By season 2 of Euphoria, Zendaya wasn't only in front of the camera, she was also an executive producer. That title is more than a vanity line in the credits. It means she's in a room for budget talks, story decisions, and long-term planning. It gives her a cut of the back end when the show is rewatched, resold, and streamed for years. In other words, she didn't just get hired, she took partial ownership of the machine. Her brand deals follow that same strategic pattern. Zendaya has partnerships with Lancome, Smartwater, Bulgari, and Valentino. Those are huge names, and what stands out is how few of them there are. She's not bouncing from one sponsored post to another. When she signed with a brand, it feels like a relationship, not a one-off check. As a Valentino ambassador, for example, she's central to the narrative the house is building, not just another celebrity in a dress. Financially, estimates put Zendaya's net worth in the $20 to $25 million range, and that number is heading upward quickly. She's being paid at the very top of TV scales. Reports have her earning around $1 million per episode for Euphoria now, alongside major film salaries and producer deals. It's not about stacking quick cash. It's about stacking long-term influence. Tom Holland, on the other hand, has been proving he's more than just the kid who plays Spider-Man. After the Marvel run, he could have stuck to familiar territory, action sequels, easy crowd pleasers, and nobody would have questioned it. Instead, Uncharted was his first big test as the clear lead of a non-Marvel blockbuster. Critics didn't fall over themselves praising the plot, but audiences showed up. For a young actor, that matters more than reviews. He demonstrated he can put people in seats by name alone. Then he took a sharp turn with The Crowded Room. It's a darker, heavy project dealing with trauma and mental health. And he didn't just show up, shoot, and go home. As a producer, he was involved at a deeper level, from development to execution. He later admitted that the emotional weight of that role and the production process took a toll on his own mental health. That honesty about needing a break from acting, stepping back from social media, and protecting his headspace is rare, especially when studios would love for him to just keep saying yes. What he's doing now is exactly what you'd want from a young star who has already hit the highest shelf of mainstream fame. Using that breathing room to choose work that keeps him growing, not just cashing guaranteed franchise checks until the public gets bored. With both of them earning real money on their own, the life they built together could easily have turned into one long, public flex. Instead, their private choices look almost like the opposite of what you'd expect from two of the most watched people in Hollywood. In 2022, word got out that they quietly bought a home together in London. Not some castle-like compound with paparazzi waiting at the gates, but a roughly £3 million house in a residential area, private, secure, and clearly chosen for living, not for showing off. Renovation teams were spotted. Security upgrades were rumored. It wasn't about impressing anyone. It was about building a place they could disappear into. Zendaya also owns a house in Encino in Los Angeles, worth around $4 million. She's had it for a while now, but you almost never see it. No video house tours, no glossy magazine spreads, no constant Instagram content from her living room. The same goes for Tom. Fans try to decipher their surroundings from the occasional Zoom interview or photo, but the couple rarely gives anything away on purpose. Both have made a point of keeping their social media footprint under control. Zendaya posts sparingly, and when she does, the focus is almost always on work. Trailers, campaigns, film stills, set photos. Tom went further and stepped away from Instagram completely for a period, saying it wasn't good for his mental health. That's not a trivial decision for someone whose entire age group basically lives online. But it fits with the way they move. Less noise, more focus. They carry that same attitude into fashion, where Zendaya has become something very close to Hollywood royalty. Her partnership with stylist Laura Roach has produced some of the most iconic red carpet looks of the last decade. Think about the Joan of Arc-inspired Versace armor at the Met Gala, or the sculptural Rick Owens gown at the Dune premiere. These aren't random picks, they're narrative choices. Each look tells a story, and each story strengthens her place at the top of the style conversation. She's not just dressing for the night, she's dressing for the history books. Some of her red carpet pieces end up displayed in museums and retrospectives. When she walks into Paris Fashion Week or the Met Gala, it feels like an event within the event. Designers build collections with her in mind. That's real fashion power. Tom has found his own, quieter lane in that world. In 2022, he fronted a Prada menswear campaign, and it worked because it felt like a natural extension of who he is. He doesn't overdo it. You'll see him in clean, well-cut suits when the occasion calls for it, and then back to hoodies and sneakers when it doesn't. He's not trying to compete with Zendaya's fashion dominance. He doesn't need to. Together, they become a go-to couple for luxury brands without ever looking like they're trying too hard. Behind the glamour, both of them are thinking like executives. Zendaya's executive producer credit on Euphoria changed her pay structure and her power on set. She reportedly negotiated that $1 million per episode figure as part of being not just a face of the show, but part of its engine. Tom's producer role on The Crowded Room gives him similar behind-the-scenes experience and ties him deeper into Apple's expanding content empire. On top of that, they're both extremely selective with partnerships. Zendaya's long-standing contracts with Lancome, Bulgari, and Valentino don't feel like random ads. They feel like shared journeys. Tom, aligned with brands like Prada, hasn't rushed to slap his name on everything in sight either. There's a clear strategy. Fewer deals, deeper relationships, stronger trust with the audience. And then there's the relationship itself, which might be the most unusual part of their entire public image. In an era where couples turn their love lives into content streams, Zendaya and Tom have refused to make their relationship a brand. No joint reality shows, no couple podcasts, no Tom and Zendaya product lines when they walk a red carpet together, like the No Way Home premiere or the Ballon d'Or in Paris. It feels significant precisely because they don't do it constantly. Zendaya has been clear that she wants to protect the peace. That means guarding their personal life from becoming public property. Tom has said that privacy helps him stay grounded and present. They appear together when it makes sense, disappear when it doesn't, and never seem to be forcing anything for the camera. That's probably why, years into this, people are still genuinely interested. There's mystery, but not in a manufactured way. Just in the simple fact that they keep most of their life off the record. When they're not on set at a fashion show or in front of journalists, their lives seem surprisingly normal for a couple operating at this level. They travel to Venice, Paris, Budapest, but usually you don't see it until after the fact, when fan photos or paparazzi shots pop up days later. No live vlogging their every move, no endless vacation post-designed for engagement. They enjoy the trip, then move on. Both of them have talked about how much they like staying in, cooking, or just relaxing. Tom has mentioned making pasta at home. Zendaya once posted about baking banana bread. Those aren't giant, orchestrated couple moments designed for brand deals. They're simple things that slip out in interviews and old posts. Every once in a while, they're spotted grabbing coffee, walking a dog, or running errands in sweats. Those images go viral because people rarely see them, not because the couple is pushing them out. They figured out something a lot of very famous people never do: how to live in the spotlight without handing every part of themselves over to it. Their careers are loud, massive films, huge shows, front row fashion, historic franchise moments. But their actual daily lives are as quiet as they can possibly make them. So if you were in their position, global fame, huge paychecks, and everyone watching, would you live out loud, share everything, and turn your relationship into a brand? Or would you keep things as protected and low-key as Tom Holland and Zendaya have? Even when the world is